Hey, welcome to the Consulting Mindset. Today, I'm going to share with you all you need to know about the China's interest rate corridor, which is a very important concept when you want to invest in China equity markets. So, what exactly is interest rate corridor? A very common understanding and definition is that it is a system and a mechanism for the central bank to guide the short-term market interest rate towards their target policy rate. And why do they want to do that? Because they would like to stabilize the interest rate by reducing the volatility, and they would like to avoid the bank to storing up the liquidity when the bank is expected a tightening condition is coming forwards. And how do they do that? Basically, the central bank do that via the manipulation and the control of two interest rates. The first interest rate is the interest rate at which the central bank lend to the bank. And the second rate is that the rate at which the central bank borrow and take deposit from the commercial bank. And in China, the 7-day standing lending facility is effectively the upper bound limit. And we are going to talk about why in the following slide. And the rate on excess reserve supposedly should be the lower bound interest rate of the interest rate corridor, but supposedly only, but not practically. And we are going to talk about why very soon. And the 7-day repo rate is the prevailing market rate, which is a very common indicator to measure the liquidity in the market, in the interest rate market. So, when we talk about the interest rate corridor, a very important element to understand is so-called the upper bound limit. In China, the standing lending facility, or the SLF, is the effective the upper bound limit. It was established in 2013. All qualified financial institutions can initiate requests to central bank to borrow money. Of course, when we say initiate, it means that central bank can reject this request. Although very likely that central bank will fulfill the request. And the implication is that if the market interest rate is higher than the SLF rate, those financial institutions will go directly to get the funding from central bank because the funding in the central bank is much cheaper from the market. So the SLF would become the effective cap. While the lower bound of the interest rate corridor, as said before, supposedly and theoretically should be the interest rate on excess reserve. It is the rate that when the commercial bank deposit or lend money to the central bank, they could get interest from the central bank. So if the prevailing market interest rate is less than the interest rate on excess reserve, then those financial institutions would directly deposit in the central bank, instead lending money to the market. So this rate should be the effective bottom. But in reality, this interest rate has been fixed at 0.72% since the financial crisis in 2008, which is far below the 7-day SLF and the repo rate of R007 and DR007 historical average. So it is not quite relevant in this sense, as it is too far away from the interest rate corridor upper bound and the average range. In reality, instead, the reverse repo rate would be a more relevant indicator because when the central bank inject the liquidity in the banking system via the reverse repo, the primary dealer who are eligible to the open market operation can get the funding from the reverse repo rate, and effectively they can obtain the fund at the lowest cost from central bank, and they could add some markup to further lend out the fund to the other financial institutions. So the reverse repo rate would effectively become the lower bound limit of the interest rate corridor.